You're listening to the micro version of the Savage Lovecast. www.savagelovecast.com.
If you're stuck in a relationship quandary, or if you're looking for sexual harmony, well, there's nothing you can't ask on the Savage Lovecast.
Those of us who are old enough to remember the grief that Hillary Clinton got during the Monica Lewinsky scandal, the grief and the criticism that she came in for having the nerve to be married to a man who cheated on her, are a little shocked by the pass that Melania Trump is being given. Melania Trump isn't being asked any questions about l'affaire de Stormy Daniels or any of the other affairs or all of the women that Donald Trump sexually assaulted or is alleged to have sexually assaulted. Actually, I think Melania Trump was asked about that and she called them all liars, and that is the end of that. But if this were happening to Bill and Hillary Clinton, that Bill Clinton had paid a porn star $130,000 before the election to keep his mouth shut, half of the news stories in the Washington Post, Maureen Dowd at the New York Times would be dedicating so many column inches, acres of column inches, to the question of what did Melania know, and when did she know it, and why is she staying, and what is she thinking, as more and more evidence comes out that her husband cheated on her. And what does it say about women and American women that she's standing by her man? You know what I think it says? Well, I don't know if this is what it says about Melania, but I'm pretty sure I know what Melania is thinking every time Donald Trump hooks up with a porn star and that porn star goes down on him. She is thinking, there but for the grace of God blow I. I think she's relieved. I think Melania Trump is only too happy. And of course, she can't display that delight in public because that wouldn't play well with the evangelical Christians who support Donald Trump overwhelmingly. She can't betray that or show that in public or admit to it in public. So she disappears from view. She puts on the frown that she wears 24 hours a day because she's married to fucking Donald Trump. We're all frowning 24 hours a day because we're all shackled to Donald Trump in a very similar way. And she gets on with it. But if you were married to Donald Trump and you didn't have to fuck him or suck his dick because somebody else was, wouldn't you be happy? Particularly if you married Donald Trump for his money and not any other reason. Anyway, Melania Trump, no one's asking her what she thinks. No one's going after her the way everybody, some of the same reporters still writing today and columnists still writing today, went after Hillary Clinton. Just another, it's okay if you're a Republican thing that goes on in our culture. Another thing that's going on in our culture, Stormy Daniels has dick pics. That is the intimation in her lawsuit. She is suing Donald Trump for the right to discuss publicly the affair that she had with him, or is alleged to have had with him. And in the lawsuit, Stormy Daniels says that she wants to be able to discuss and release certain still images and or text messages which were authored by or relate to Donald Trump. Certain still images. We know what that means. That means dick pics, presidential dick pics. They are an inevitability. Sooner or later, we are going to see one, and the first presidential dick pic we see is not going to be the last presidential dick pic we see. Because young people and old people routinely swap dirty texts and dirty pics, and some of the young people who are right now in high school or college swapping sex and dick, pussy, ass, tit pics with their lovers, best practices, or with strangers, not okay, are going to grow up to be president one day. And some of the people our future presidents are swapping dirty sex and pics with right now are going to grow up to be bitter exes by the time the oath of office is administered. And yeah, one day we're going to get to see the first junk. And that first presidential dick pic or pussy pic or ass pic or tit pic is going to be a huge scandal. It is inevitable. I think it's a little like pot. We've talked about this before. 30 years ago, a single photograph of someone smoking a joint had the power to derail a Supreme Court nomination. It took us 20 years to go from Clinton saying, I smoked, but I didn't inhale, to Barack Obama saying, yeah, I inhaled. That was the point. Now it's a non-issue. Similarly, the first presidential dick pic or major nominee dick pic could end a political career, Anthony Weiner style. But as with pot, we now know that everyone's sex, and as with pot, at some point, there won't be a point in denying it anymore. And just as we now regard a politician who claims to never, ever, not even once have smoked pot, we regard that politician with skepticism because they're either lying or they were complete social misfits. One day we will regard a major political figure who doesn't have a few stray dick-ass pussy tit pics circulating online as a weirdo because everybody else does. But to get to the yes, I inhaled stage, yeah, that's my dick pic, Jake Tapper, so what? To get to the point where a dirty pic like pot use doesn't have the power to end someone's political career, we've got to see that first presidential dick pic. We want to get there. Actually, we do, because like I said, nearly everyone has swapped dirty pics, and currently a single dirty pic has the power to end a career, not just a political career. So for the kids, for our kids, we don't want dirty pics to continue to have this kind of destructive power because our kids are swapping dirty pics all the time. And the sooner dirty pics no longer have the power to hurt someone's career, the better for our kids. That said, dear reader, I think I speak for us all, for every man, woman, and child on earth, born or as yet unborn, when I say, please God, don't let Trump's dick pic be the first presidential dick pic we see. Because we've endured so much since November of last year, I don't think we can endure that. But you know who could? Donald J. Trump. Our current president may be the only person whose presidency wouldn't end as the result of his cock being featured in the first ever presidential dick pic. It would just be another scandal in the forest of scandals that we live in now. Really, the only benefit to Trump's dick pic being featured in the first presidential dick pic we all get to see is that it could really shorten the process. With the help of Fox News, congressional Republicans, and evangelical leaders, Trump could take us from, holy shit, that's the president's dick pic, impeach, 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 to, hey, everybody's got at least one dick pic out there somewhere, right? Sean Hannity, Paul Ryan, Tony Perkins, we've already seen that they will do whatever it takes to protect Trump. And if that included normalizing dick pics, they would release their own dick pics. We'd also wind up seeing Mitch McConnell and Lou Dobbs' dicks too, all in the space of a couple of days. So anyway, Stormy, if you're listening and you have Donald Trump's dick pics, you should release them. Not to hurt Donald Trump. Nothing seems to hurt Donald Trump. But because it'll help our kids. All right, before we get to your calls, I have some live shows coming up at the end of the month. Friday, March 23rd in Minneapolis at the Pantages Theater. Saturday, March 24th in Madison, Wisconsin at the Barrymore Theater. And Sunday, March 25th in Royal Oak, near Detroit, at the Royal Oak Music Theater. These are Savage Love live events, Q&As, you, me, your questions live or on cards. If you need to submit them anonymously, go to savagelovecast.com/events to get your tickets to the Friday, Saturday, Sunday, March 23rd, 24th, 25th shows in Minneapolis, Madison, and Royal Oak. All right, coming up on today's show, Erika Moen is here with a new sex toy recommendation. Tons of your Q's, lots of my A's, all today. Hashtag open, love the players, change the game. Get ready for a new inclusive approach to social networking and modern dating. Hashtag open welcomes you as you are. Define and redefine yourself in terms that work for you. Choose your own labels or choose no labels at all. Browse solo, with a partner, or both, all from the same phone. Hashtag open needs Savage Love listeners to test their app before they come out to the rest of the world. Test now at hashtagopen.com and earn community founder status for life. Let me be me, and you can be you at hashtag open. Thanks to Audible for supporting the Savage Lovecast. For a free audiobook with a 30-day free trial, go to audible.com/savage or text SAVAGE to 500-500. This episode of the Savage Lovecast is brought to you by Everlane, luxury basic clothing and accessories made at ethical factories without those retail markups. For free shipping and to support the Lovecast, go to everlane.com/savage.
Hi, Dan. I am a 20-something female, straight female from the Midwest in a really awesome relationship with my straight boyfriend. A little background. He is amazing. He's sexy and intelligent and really emotionally intelligent, and I really couldn't ask for anything more out of him. My problem revolves around a little bit of the fact that I am a jealous girlfriend, which I'm actively trying to work on, and the fact that since he is so gorgeous, he has had plenty of past experience. I mean, so have I, but it bothers me when it comes up in conversation sometimes. Recently, he was being honest with me, which was great, and telling me that a girl that he used to have sex with contacted him recently over Snapchat, which I naturally find suspicious because the conversation disappears as you type it, and if you want to reach out to someone, why do it on a medium where it erases itself naturally? Anyway, this girl reaches out to him basically just to say, I know that you're in a relationship and I'm in a relationship, but I just wanted you to know that if things were different, I would love to have you be my DP with my boyfriend. What? I understand maybe if she just wanted to give him a little ego boost or whatever, but I know that I'm kind of a jealous girlfriend, so reacting to that, I'm trying to eliminate my own jealousy from the equation, but I still can't get past the fact that I think it's weird. Why would a girl reach out years after not having relations with him anymore just to say, hey, just so you know, even though I know it's never going to happen, I would love for you to DP me with my boyfriend? What? I'm wondering what your opinion on that kind of situation is. Should I be weirded out by that, or should I just kind of let him get his ego boost out of that and just drop it? I mean, I know I should just be able to drop it anyway because it's not going to do anything but create more problems between him and I know that he would never act on something like that. But still, am I at least a little justified with being weirded out by that?
Your boyfriend is gorgeous. My husband's pretty hot. Maybe you and I should start a support group. Because having a gorgeous boyfriend or a hot husband, people are going to hit on your fucking gorgeous boyfriend or my hot husband all the time. And it is a waste of time and energy and a conflict generator in your relationship for you to get upset about it. It's fine for you to be a little weirded out about it. It is a little weird to reach out to somebody years later and out of the blue suggest that maybe if they were single, you might like them to double penetrate you with your boyfriend. But people do that all the time. And it's one of the things that new technologies and social media have brought into our life, which is just this ability to reach out and ping someone from our past and say, essentially, I remember you fondly. And if circumstances were different, I would fuck the shit out of you again, or have you fuck the shit out of me with the assistance of my boyfriend who'll be penetrating some other orifice simultaneously. There's no point in getting upset about this. If you trust your boyfriend and trust that he's not going to act on this, you shouldn't punish him by freaking out or getting angry or spending more than a moment contemplating what just happened. Because all that happened is somebody hit on your hot boyfriend. Having a hot boyfriend is a wonderful thing. It's not possible to keep a hot boyfriend for long if you're going to freak out and shit your pants every time somebody hits on your hot fucking boyfriend. What qualifies you to have a hot boyfriend is the ability to not just shrug that off, but in a way bask in it a little bit. Everybody wants to fuck your boyfriend, but you get to fuck him. He's yours. Hot boyfriend chose you over all the other women in the world that he could be double penetrating right now with the assistance of their current boyfriends. He chose you. Take that yes for an answer, and don't screw this up for yourself. If indeed he's trustworthy, if indeed you guys have a monogamous commitment and that was opt-in, that was something you spoke about, not just a default setting, not just an assumption. And if you trust him to honor that monogamous commitment, don't punish him for something that's really outside of his control. Just freaking out about this woman who contacted him, and freaking out about this woman who contacted him on Snapchat and picking that apart, like why Snapchat where it instantly disappears as opposed to some other. That it all adds up in the end to him being punished by you for behavior. For the behavior of other people that he is not in control of. And that is you essentially driving a wedge into your relationship. That is you poisoning your relationship. So, lady, hot husband haver to hot boyfriend haver, I say to you, you got to shrug it off. You got to not give a shit about it. You've got to take it as the compliment that it is and not punish your boyfriend or punish my husband for things that are outside your boyfriend or my husband's control.
Hey, Dan, long-time caller. I've been married to my wife for about 10 years, and we have a really great relationship. Things have been fantastic over the years, and just like any relationships, we ebb and flow when it comes to our sexual intimacy. But the one issue that I've been having and kind of had over the last 10 years is that my wife has a visceral reaction to my cum in ways that sometimes just are really, really big turnoff. So, right when, I'm about to come, it's like, be careful, watch the sheets. Like, I don't want to have to wash them. And it just becomes a really, really bad turnoff right in the part of when we're supposed to be in ecstasy, So anyways, just wanting to get your perspective on it. We've talked about it and we've had conversations, and I've gotten to the point where I've just kind of dealt with it and understand and just respect that she doesn't like it and want to be good to her and make sure that she feels comfortable. So, I always have a towel ready to go. So love to get your perspective.
I imagine that your wife is aroused when you two have sex and that she gets wet. She produces vaginal secretions, and her secretions get places. They get on the sheet. They get on your dick. They get on hopefully all over your face. And they get, again, on the sheets while you're fucking. And if you haven't already, you should say to your wife, how would you feel if I treated everything that was coming out of your vagina when you were aroused by being in my presence as if it were poisonous or toxic or disgusting? You wouldn't appreciate being treated that way. That would make you feel bad about your genitalia. That would make you feel bad about who you are sexually, bad about being aroused. And the way you treat me and my cum, that's not nice. That makes me feel bad and self-conscious about this natural function. And in a way, this affirmation of my desire for you and attraction to you, which is this spurt at the end of sex. And I think you have a right to say to your wife, you need to get over this, just as you and your secretions get places, me and mine are going to get places too. And the fact that mine are concentrated and they get places all at once in a burst, as opposed to a gradual kind of shellacking, which is what goes on with vaginal secretions. And just because my secretions get places all at once in a burst, as opposed to your vaginal secretions, which sort of ooze out slowly, gradually, and shellac things like my face and like the sheets, you can't treat me like my jizz is toxic. You're going to have to learn how to love it. Love me, love my spunk. And if you can't love my spunk, shut the fuck up about it getting on the sheets. That is what sheets are there for. Sheets are there so the spunk doesn't get on the goddamn mattress. And you have it on good authority. You can tell her from some faggots that a lot of spunk gets a lot of places and it dries pretty quickly and you can sleep on it and you hardly even remember it's there until you turn the lights on and then you're like, oh yeah, it's probably time to wash the fucking sheets. But you're 10 years into this, so maybe your wife can never get over her spunk phobia. But she's going to have to at least accept that this is her problem, and she needs to keep it to herself. If you're going to be considerate enough to aim when you're going to come, such a direction, such a place, onto a towel, onto her back, on some place where it's not going to land on the precious fucking sheets, then she has to meet you halfway. If you're being considerate enough to have it in the back of your head that she has a preference about where that spunk goes, then she needs to, in the moment, not remind you. That's the very least that she can do. Since you are considerate enough, and she's been hammering away at this for 10 years, and you know better than to just blow the load all over your sheets, then she needs to, when you're getting close, not bring up laundry day. When you're getting close, not make you feel self-conscious about the way your body functions and the way your genitals work. She needs to shut the fuck up. And you can incentivize her shutting the fuck up about your ejaculations the moment before they occur by, well, this is what I would do. If she mentions, don't get it on the sheets the moment before I come, I will throw the towel aside and turn and direct it all over the goddamn sheets. Pillowcases too. But that's how I would handle it, and I'm kind of an asshole. I think you can use your words, probably, and handle it better. That's the deal you're going to have to strike. I know you don't like it on the sheets. I do my best to make sure it doesn't get on the sheets. Stop reminding me. We're 10 years in. I know that you have a spunk phobic thing. Stop reminding me about it. Hashtag open, love the players, change the game. Get ready for a new inclusive approach to social networking and modern dating. Instead of limiting players to the traditional models of gender identity, orientation, and relationship style, Hashtag open welcomes you as you are. Define and redefine yourself in terms that work for you. Choose your own labels or choose none at all. Browse solo or browse with a partner or both, all from the same phone. Swipe or search. Players use hashtags to communicate their preferences and boundaries. Hashtag open needs you Savage Lovecast listeners to test their app before they come out to the rest of the world. Test now. You are personally invited to go test now at hashtagopen.com. That's all spelled out, not the symbol hashtag, HASHTAGOPEN.com, hashtagopen.com. And you will earn, if you go now and help them test it out, community founder status for life. In addition, Hashtag Open is donating $1 to Planned Parenthood for every new profile in their app, up to $69,000. Check out their app and make a difference at the same time. Let me be me, and you can be you at Hashtag Open. Meet the Hashtag Open team at the Hump Film Festival in Eugene, Oregon, and Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, March 9th and 10th, and New York City, March 23rd through 29th, Cleveland, Ohio, April 7th, Madison, Wisconsin, April 14th, and Washington, D.C., April 19th through the 21st.
Hey, Dan and the tech-savvy at-risk youth. I'm a 28-year-old bi cis woman who is madly in love with someone that lives in a city I hate, in a city that made me very depressed. We have a connection that makes my heart say he's my one, yet I have listened to you for years and know that there are many ones out there. So I've been dating and putting myself out there in a place that I do love and trying to create a life that fulfills me. I'm with my two best friends in the world, and I'm currently unemployed and looking for a job. There's not a job tying me to either location right now. My mind tells me I'm doing the right thing by trying to do the things that I like, such as be in a place I like, surrounded by friends I love, and hopefully find a career I love. But my heart is screaming at me about what a dumbass I am for not running to this guy despite the fact that he lives somewhere I hate. So what do? Do I stay in a place I do love, surrounded by my chosen family, or do I go to a place that might be bearable for the chance at an amazing love story? Thanks.
I understand hating a city. I understand going to a place or living in a place and having such negative experiences or such traumatic experiences in that place that you never want to return to that place. I feel that way about Tucson, Arizona, where my mom died. That's my only association with Tucson. Went there when my mom was in the hospital, hospitalized suddenly, and then was there for her death. And I left Tucson and swore I would never return. And that's not fair to the good and decent people of Tucson necessarily. It's not fair that I linked those two things. My mother could have died in Chicago, where we lived, and never going to go home again to Chicago, where I grew up, because my mother died there. So it's kind of irrational and unfair. My 10-year Tucson boycott, and perhaps I should visit there and create some new memories and new associations. And that would be my advice for you. You don't have a job where you are right now. You could look for a job where he is, potentially. And you could, if you went there and you were with this guy that you are so crushed out on and so madly in love with, create new memories and new associations and develop perhaps a new feeling about that place, because you will have, hopefully, if the relationship goes well, positive associations with that location. Thanks to your new boyfriend, this new relationship. There's also the option of him moving to you. That's less actionable if he has a job, if he has things that are tying him to that place. It might be perceived as unfair of you to ask him to move to where you are, but you're certainly entitled to ask, and then he can decide whether finding a new job in the city where this woman is, that hopefully he feels as strongly about as she feels about him, is something he's willing to do, to see if this relationship is something he's willing to do, to be in relationship with you. But yeah, he's not the only man in the world. You may find some other 0.64s or 0.73s, or if you're super lucky at 0.75, some motherfucker you can round the rest of the way up to the one where you are. But finding one of those 0.63s or 0.75s, so you can round the fuck up to the one, that takes work and effort. And those 0.64s and 0.75s, they don't cross your path every day. So when you meet a 0.75 or 0.77, and this guy sounds like he's up there, you don't casually toss those folks aside. There is no the one. There are lots of potential ones, but as anybody's out there dating or swiping knows, the search takes time and effort, and it can be agonizingly frustrating. So don't toss aside the 0.75 just because there's other 0.75s in the world. The 0.75 that you know where that motherfucker is a better bet than the 0.75s you haven't met yet, haven't located yet, haven't swiped correctly on yet. I forget if it's left or right because I've never been on Tinder. I would go if I were you. You also have the option of the long distance relationship, but I would go. And go for just 3 months. Tell them you're going to come hang out, find some temporary gig, maintain your connections with your friends, sublet the place that you're in now so that you don't lose the apartment or lose the connection or lose the ability to return if indeed this relationship isn't everything that from a distance you hoped it would be. But go. And you may find that a really successful, loving relationship with a guy you dig exonerates that city that you hate so much. Audiobooks are great for helping you be a better you. And for my listeners, Audible is offering a free audiobook with a 30-day free trial. If you want to listen to it, Audible has it. Just go to audible.com/savage or text SAVAGE to 500-500 and browse their unmatched selection of audio content. Download a title free and start listening. It is that easy, and it is a great way for you to support the Savage Lovecast. Millions of Audible members access performances by entertainers, magazines, and amazing narrators, as well as original audio shows, news, comedy, and more. One audiobook I highly recommend is Everybody Lies, Big Data, New Data, and What the Internet Can Tell Us About Who We Really Are by Seth Stevens-Davidowitz, who's been a guest on the podcast. It is a fascinating book and an equally fascinating listen. Your books are yours to keep. With Audible, you can go back and re-listen anytime, even if you cancel your membership. Get a free audiobook with a 30-day free trial at audible.com/savage or text SAVAGE to 500-500. That's audible.com/savage or text SAVAGE to 500-500.
Hey, Dan, 30-year-old from the Midwest here. I have a question about maybe you can help me identify what a term is. So you can be in a monogamous relationship, or you can be in a polyamorous relationship, and that's like a choice you make. Now, you can also, in my head, you can like identify as monogamous, or on a spectrum, you're like, I'm only attracted to one person. So what's it called if you're out and identify that you are attracted to multiple people? Are you like monogamous or polyagous? Is there a good word for it? Because I'm choosing to be in a monogamous relationship, but I'm open and out and identify that I am attracted to multiple people. So if you have a word for that, I'd love to hear any suggestions.
Hello, new listener. Welcome to the Savage Lovecast. We have talked about this a lot in the past episodes, shows that you've missed. I've been doing this for 10 years, so if you're only 20, you probably weren't listening when you were 10. So here goes. We're told a lie about monogamy when we're growing up. And that lie is one day we will fall in love with somebody and we will want to be with that person and we will make a monogamous commitment to that person. And because we're in love with that person to whom we've made this monogamous commitment, we won't want to have sex with anybody else because we will not be attracted to anyone else. We conflate monogamy and love in this really damaging way. The reality of the situation is that you will make a monogamous commitment, you're still going to want to fuck other people. Being attracted to other people doesn't prove that you're not in love with the person to whom you made a monogamous commitment to. And the person that you've made this monogamous commitment to, the fact that they are sometimes attracted to other people isn't evidence that they are not in love with you. If we define love and monogamy, if we merge those two terms, we destabilize a lot of our relationships. Because people waste a lot of time policing each other when they're in a committed monogamous relationship for evidence of what both should just accept to be true. Of course your partner is sometimes attracted to other people, just as you are. Making a monogamous commitment doesn't mean I am not attracted to other people. You wouldn't have to make a monogamous commitment. We wouldn't even have a word for monogamy if falling in romantic love with someone meant you're only attracted to that one person. So the word you're searching for here, where you are in a monogamous relationship, but you acknowledge and are willing to publicly acknowledge that you still find other people besides your partner, to whom you've made this monogamous commitment, attractive. The word you need there is You're a fucking human being. You're a vertebrate and a biped. You're a mammal. You're alive. And yes, of course, you're going to find other people attractive. You wouldn't have to commit to not fucking other people if being in love meant you didn't find anybody else attractive. So we don't need another goddamn term. We don't need to throw more gasoline on that roaring fire. We don't need polyaffectional, but monogamous. We just need monogamous. You're in a monogamous relationship. You guys don't have sex with other people. You would sometimes like to have sex with other people. You sometimes maybe fantasize about having sex with other people. Sometimes when you're having sex with your partner, who you love very much, you're thinking about other people that you would also like to have sex with, but you don't have sex with other people because you have made a monogamous commitment. And your desire sometimes to have sex with other people, your attraction to others, isn't proof that you don't love your partner. It isn't proof that you made a monogamous commitment in error. It is proof that you are human. Devoted listeners of the Savage Lovecast know by now that neither Nancy nor I like shopping for clothes. I think it's pretty much the worst activity ever. But Everlane takes the pain away and makes it easy to get really high quality clothes without gasping in horror at the price tag or having to walk into a store. Everlane only makes premium essentials using the finest materials without traditional markups, and they tell you their real costs, so you know you're never overpaying. Everlane wants you to know what you're paying for and why. They're radically transparent about every step of their process, from the materials they use to the ethical factories they work with. Because Everlane sells directly to you, their prices are 30 to 50% lower than traditional retailer. Everlane's clothes look better, cost less, and last longer. Essentials like their Cotton Crew t-shirt are exactly what they should be: simple, stylish, and made from quality materials. My husband looks superhuman in their 100% human tee, and Nancy claims to feel very comfortable in her cashmere crop v-neck. Everlane's timeless essentials are just what you're looking for. No frills, just quality. And right now, you can get free shipping on your first order when you go to everlane.com/savage. That's everlane.com/savage. everlane.com/savage.
Hi, Dan. I've been reading you since the Hey Faggot days, which means I'm old. I'm mid-40s, straight, and I've been married for a long time, like almost 20 years, and have teenage kids in the house. My wife, after a lot of dithering about it all, has decided that she prefers the company of women and is going to be dating women from this point forward. We have agreed to have a companionate marriage for the foreseeable future, like I think until the kids are out of the house, which I'm totally cool with. That's definitely the right way to do it, logistically and financially and all that. But I've got a question. I'm about to leave town for a month to work in a different city, and I would like to hook up and get laid. And I just don't know how to go about doing it. Because I haven't really dated in, a couple of decades now. And I know all kids all these days are using the apps for these kinds of things. And is that something that works for old guys? And what's the etiquette surrounding it? How, in the sort of post-meeting people in bars days, does a out-of-the-game old guy get it back into it?
I've been writing Savage Love since the Hey Faggot days, so I'm older. Yeah, old people like you, like me, can and do use apps. It's interesting and perhaps a little revealing when you start talking about who's on apps, kids these days. Well, there are middle-aged married people on apps. There are sometimes middle-aged married people in your circumstance. If you are just honest about who you are, married, companionate marriage, wife and I no longer have sex. Wife actually came out as lesbian, staying together for the kids, looking for someone in a similar circumstance who'd like some companionship, going to be in town for a month, and just put that out there. Put exactly who you are and exactly what you're looking for and exactly what your situation is out there. And the odds that you'll find someone who is in a similar circumstance and might enjoy your company and your companionship and your ability to empathize with their circumstance pretty high. There are a lot of people in marriages that are now or always were companionate and who have the freedom to seek sex outside their relationships. And there are so many people in this circumstance that it's a little mystifying that people are often really shy about sharing these details because they worry that single people aren't going to respond to them. And it may not be a single person that you're after. You are not a single person yourself. You are married. Companionate, but married. And wouldn't it be better for you to find someone who could understand exactly where you're coming from and exactly where you're at, because they're in a similar circumstance themselves, and they're not going to make the kind of demands on you that a single person might make, because they're not looking for a life partner. They're not looking to replace the person that they're married to, that they wish to stay married to, in the same way that you wish to stay married to your wife for the time being. So yeah, put yourself out there, put yourself on an app, tell the truth. Also, get out there. Although most new relationships now begin online, a significant percentage, 30, 40%, people still meet the old-fashioned way, in bars, leaving the house, going places, doing things. If you're going to hit on somebody in public, you want to be in a place where by entering that place, people are inviting a little social contact and mixing and conversation to see if something might spark. Don't approach pretty ladies on the bus. Don't approach pretty ladies on the street. Don't bother people. But if you're out of town for a month and your employer is putting you up in a nice hotel, hang out in that hotel bar. If there's a bar at your hotel, if there isn't a bar at your hotel, change your reservation. Make a reservation at a hotel with a bar. You will meet women. You may even meet a single woman who's just in town briefly, as you are, but up for something, or you may meet a married woman who's in your circumstance. We're going to take a quick break from your calls to speak with Erika Moen. She's a queer cartoonist at the comic book studio Helioscope in Portland, Oregon. Together with her husband, Matthew Nolan, she draws Oh Joy Sex Toy, a weekly comic all about the wonderful world of sex and all about the wonderful world of sex toys. And she comes on the show every once in a while to recommend a new sex toy for all of us. Hey, Erika, how you doing?
I'm doing really well. How are you?
Great. Thank you for coming on the show again. So what do you got?
Okay, this time I have the Pierre by New York Toy Collective. And it is a packer, which it's a soft pack, though. And what usually people think when they hear packer is like, oh, a hard cock that you use as a strap-on pegging tool that you use to fuck people. And a packer, just like a soft pack, it's still a cock that you strap on, but it's soft, as soft pack kind of implies. And it's for just kind of like your day-to-day having a penis business, instead of like, I'm going to go have sex right now. It's just like, I'm just going to wear a cock today and I don't need to have a raging boner. And it's lovely.
And why would someone wear a soft cock? Why would someone pack?
Why wouldn't someone wear a soft cock? Okay, so I am a cisgender woman, and most people who are going to be wearing packers are going to be kind of, what's it called? Something of masculine, left of masculine?
Transmasculine guys? Or transmasculine folks?
Yeah, transmasculine, or people who are kind of like more genderqueer, or who just don't like identify as a cisgender woman, but who also still want a penis. And I am a cisgender woman, and I just like the way it feels. It just feels nice in my underwear, and there's this nice heft to it, and I walk with swagger when I have it. And also, like, my husband really digs it too, and so like that adds this extra thrill to it, and like, we'll just have a day where we both have a dick and we can both just kind of like reach over and grab each other's cock every so often, like affectionately, discreetly. It's just nice.
I've heard some trans male friends who haven't had bottom surgery, who of course will strap on a dildo when they want to do penetrative sex with their dick, and strapping on a dildo is to strap on an erection, basically, who will wear these things, a soft dick, at other times when they just want to feel, as one trans dude I know told me, feel complete. And being able to pack at all times, not just to have a boner when they need a boner, but also have a soft cock in their pants at other times, makes them feel complete in a way that bottom surgery, if it's not possible for them right now, isn't able to make them feel complete. It's not possible for them ever. Some people prefer to stick with the genitals they've got that work, rather than doing surgeries that are improving but may or may not work.
Yeah, and I just like, I think that there's so many different reasons. Like, if it helps you feel aligned and correct and complete in your body, that's a great reason. If you just enjoy the physical sensation of occasionally having a cock, that's an equally valid reason. Like, there's no one reason, like there's no one correct reason to do this. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. And some people might get off on it through the transgression. Some people it might be hugely meaningful. Some people it might be primarily playful, and both are okay. People get to play in the gender arena as well. I looked up the toy on NewYorkToyCollective.com on the website, looking at the Pierre right now. I could see a cisgendered straight couple where she pegs him. I could see that woman, if she was going to go out with her boyfriend all night and flirt about what's going to happen to him when he gets home that night, because she's going to peg his ass tonight, wanting to wear this. Just as a kind of like teasing, transgressive, fun foreplay toy.
Sure, yeah, and also it comes in a variety of colors. So we've got flesh tones, and then there's also bright primary colors as well, so like yellow and purple. So like if you really want to just be creative with your cock, you have a bunch of options.
So if you identify as a bright blue unicorn, the New York Toy Collective has the cock for you.
Yep.
What does this thing run?
Okay, I think it's $45 for a small size, and then $55 for a regular size. And regular size is about just over 5 inches long and 2 inches wide. And I don't know, just tucks up nicely between your legs.
And it feels good, I'm told.
Yeah, it feels really nice. It's very pleasant to have a soft packer on every now and then.
Okay, so where can people who are curious about the Pierre find it?
They can go to NewYorkToyCollective.com. And that is, it's in New York, and it's this really sweet, small, like, indie queer collective of folks who are making these toys, and it's all, like, super high-quality silicone. And I don't know, like, not only do you get this great toy, but you can also feel good that you're supporting queer creators as well at the same time.
Erika Moen, queer cartoonist at the comic book studio Helioscope, and with her husband Matthew Nolan, the creators of Oh Joy Sex Toy, sometimes the curators of Oh Joy Sex Toy, because you guys involve a lot of other queer artists at Oh Joy Sex Toy. It's a weekly comic all about the wonderful world of sex. Do check it out. Hey, Erika, thank you for coming on.
Thank you so much.
Hey, Dan. I'm a 28-year-old female in Seattle. My boyfriend of a year recently brought up the idea of buying a sex doll, one that's really anatomically correct that costs about $2,000. I am a believer that sex toys aren't a bad thing. I have a dildo, I have a vibrator, there's butt plugs he uses on me. And I have no problem with fleshlights, but with sex dolls, there's that just something about them squicks me out. I don't want to say it's, I get the idea of some guy who never left living in his mom's basement, but there is a certain level of that, and the hyper-realistic bit of it just bugs me. He's in art school, and his whole thing was, you can bend it into hyper-realistic positions that a mannequin can't use, and he did admit that it would be used for fat material as well, but our sex life is good. We're pretty open about that. I'd say we're pretty adventurous, and he's never suggested any issues that there's an issue, but I don't know what to do.
There's a lot of talk, including a lot of talk on this very program, about the coming of the sex bots. The sex robots are coming, and we discuss people having sex with robots without factoring into the discussion that some of the people fucking robots are going to also have human partners, and how are their human partners going to feel about competing with a sex bot? When we talk about fucking the sex bots, we're usually talking about a guy, although it won't just be guys fucking the sex bots, who is unattached somehow, at least in our imaginations, or we don't imagine any attachments. They're just fucking a sex robot. And yet, people are going to be having girlfriends, having boyfriends, having non-binary friends, having wives, having husbands, having non-binary spouses, and having also maybe sex with a bot every once in a while. And how are their partners going to feel about that? Sex robot infidelity, how's that going to play? Not really your question, but where your question made my mind go. The distinction that you're drawing between him using a fleshlight, which is an insertion toy for men. Men put their dicks in this sleeve, basically, this silicone sleeve with a little lubricant, and they move it back and forth and jack off into it. And it simulates an orifice, a pussy or a butt. And you fuck it. And that's different somehow, I guess, because at least in his imagination, he's fantasizing about having sex with a person, even if that person isn't you and you're fine with that, because he's fantasizing about sex that involves the fantasy figure who chose him, who desired him, who has agency, perhaps. But a sex doll, I guess, is arguably creepier, because this is a human-shaped inanimate object that has no choice, has no agency, that your partner is masturbating into a thing that looks like a human but isn't. They have this fully formed sex object in front of them. You know, our partners sometimes masturbate in us while they fantasize about someone else. It's possible they sometimes fantasize about an inanimate object that has no agency, desire, will, or control while they fuck us. But we like to think that our partners have chosen us and we have chosen them, and that our partners would only choose to have sex with someone who had also chosen them. And the sex doll doesn't get to choose. And I guess I'm working through this, obviously, thinking through your call out loud. I guess what would creep you out or creep me out about the sex doll is what it might be telling me about my partner and their preferences, that they may prefer that I was an object with no agency, that they may prefer to be with someone who's something and have that kind of control or that freedom to disregard their inanimate object of the sex partner's desires because they're incapable of expressing them, because they don't have desire, because they're just a giant thing to jack off into. So maybe it's not the sex doll that creeps you out. Maybe it's what you imagine or intuit is going through your boyfriend's head when he'll be fucking in the future this sex doll that will live with you guys, that will compete for his time and attention with you. You, a complicated human being with agency, with desire, whose arousal he has to concern himself with if he wishes to have sex with you. And what's it going to be like competing for his time and attention and dick with someone, something, whose arousal he doesn't have to concern himself with, who also doesn't age or deteriorate with time, who he doesn't have to fight with about chores or money? Yeah, that would be creepy. I would find that unnerving myself. Terry and I, long time, open relationship. There have been very special guest stars, boyfriends, I guess. And I think, you know, as I'm sitting here imagining, like, what if Terry's very special guest star or boyfriend was a robot, a male sex doll? I would find that more unnerving than his very special guest star being a human male. Because of what it would say about Terry. Not just the presence of the doll, not just the uncanny valley shit, looking into that doll's eyes and knowing my partner fucks that doll, but what it would tell me about him, his emotional maturity, and how he truly feels about his sex partners, myself included. That would unnerve me. That would creep me out. I wouldn't want that doll in my house. A very special guest star? Sure. A real doll with a dick? Yeah, I'm with you, caller. I would find that unnerving. Not because of the doll itself, but because of what that desire to own and possess that doll would tell me about my partner and what my partner really wants and how my partner really feels about other human beings.
Hey, Dan, I'm the tech savvy at-risk youth. I'm calling in response to the guy whose girlfriend of 4 months doesn't move her face very much or at all when they're kissing. And I just wanted to call in her defense because sometimes, like, leaving your face very still and just very presently being with the sensation of someone else's mouth on your mouth, as well as, like, inhaling the smell of their face and the smell of their hair in that moment is extremely arousing for me. And it takes me a long time to warm up to tongue and, like, a lot of movement. You know, I really like when it starts out super slowly, maybe minimal movement or no movement at all. So I just wanted to call in her defense and say, maybe try it her way or see it through her eyes or something. Because, like, seriously tonguing each other's face holes isn't hot.
I'm calling in response to episode 593 and the woman who's dealing with infertility and miscarriages. My husband and I were there for 4.5 years, and I think one of the absolute most important things is just knowing how many people are there with you, sister. It is so brutal. It is just the most damning, disaffirming, out-of-control process you can possibly go through, and it sucks in every possible way. And the only thing that made it tolerable for me, including the complete disruption and evisceration of our sex life, was the support of other people who are going through the same thing. So get thee to a support group. And if one does not exist, find one online. Strong community there. And if you want one in person and it doesn't exist in your city or town, hopefully you're somewhere kind of urban, start one. I told my fertility doc that I needed this, and he said, I don't think there is one in town right now. So I said, okay, here's a flyer. I'm going to be in this room at the public library at X time on X date. And 4 other women showed up, and by the end of that night, the 5 of us were in the parking lot hugging each other and crying, and I am still in touch with them 10 years later. So my heart goes out to you. Your sex life will come back, and find women to talk to who are going through the same thing, because you need it desperately.
Oh, hi. I'm calling from Australia in response to the gun nut on episode 593. In your response, Dan, you said that Australia had had, quote, a string of mass shootings prior to implementing our tough gun laws. That's wrong. We had just one. In 1996, Martin Bryant shot 35 men, women and children in Port Arthur. Within weeks, the Australian government had restricted dangerous rifles and shotguns and implemented strict national licensing laws. They also bought back almost 650,000 guns at the cost to the Australian taxpayer of $350 million, which we were more than happy to pay. And in the 22 years since then, guess how many mass shootings we've had in Australia? None. So if it can work for us, it can work for you. Don't say it can't be fixed, because it can.
And we're going to leave it there. 206-302-2064 is the number here at the Savage Lovecast. If you want to record a question or a comment for a future show, give us a buzz. 206-302-2064. If you want to support Planned Parenthood, the International Refugee Assistance Project, and the American Civil Liberties Union, go to itmfa.org, where you can order t-shirts and beanies and caps and buttons and lapel pins and stickers with ITMFA on them. Stands for Impeach the Motherfucker. Already they're fun to wear out in public because people will ask you what it means and you get to tell them, and you'll bond. You will bond. ITMFA.org. All proceeds, every single cent, goes to ACLU, Planned Parenthood International Refugee Assistance Project. Follow me on Twitter at FakeDanSavage. Follow Erika Moen on Twitter at Erika Moen. That's ErikaMoen. Once again, those dates for my live shows coming up at the end of the month: Friday, March 23rd in Minneapolis, Saturday, March 24th in Madison, Sunday, March 25th in Royal Oak. Go to savagelovecast.com/events for tickets. The Savage Lovecast is produced every week by Nancy Hartunian and me and the tech-savvy at-risk youth and Nancy. We'll all be back at you next week with another installment of the Savage Lovecast. Thanks for downloading.